Have you ever frozen when someone asks you a simple question in English? Like, why is it that you can know hundreds of vocabulary words, but still struggle to string them together smoothly when it actually counts?
Yeah, it is the ultimate frustration for so many language learners.
Right.
You have the vocabulary safely stored in your brain, you can read complex articles, but the second you open your mouth, the words just hit a wall.
Totally. Well, welcome to Everyday English Flow, daily English practice, natural speaking, and effortless listening flow. Today, we are on a very specific mission.
Yes, we are.
We're going down the rabbit hole to figure out how to bridge that massive, frustrating gap between merely understanding English and actually speaking it with natural, automatic confidence in real-life situations.
And to give you a concrete roadmap for this, today we're going to master exactly 3 core habits for fluency, and we will apply them across 5 everyday real-world situations.
5 situations, wow.
Yeah, we are taking the theory and putting it right into practice.
So grab a notebook or, just tune in closely because this is going to be incredibly practical. And listen, you are going to want to stick around until the very end of this deep dive because we have a special bonus tip.
A really good one, too.
It's a complete mindset shift that will fundamentally change how you view your progress. But first, let's look under the hood. Like, what is physiologically happening in our brains when we freeze up mid-sentence?
Well, it is believed by linguists and neuroscientists that there is one incredibly common culprit, which is translating in your head before you speak.
Oh, yeah, the classic trap.
Right. Think about the cognitive process. When you hear a question in English, your brain's prefrontal cortex fires up. That's the slow, analytical, computational part of your brain.
The part that works really hard.
Exactly. It wants to translate the English into your native language, formulate the perfect answer, translate that answer back, check it for grammar errors, and then finally, tell your mouth to move.
Which takes an agonizingly long time. I mean, translating in your native language before speaking is like trying to solve a complex math equation while riding a bicycle. Eventually, you're gonna crash.
You will absolutely crash.
You just cannot maintain the forward momentum of a real-time conversation if you're doing heavy computational math in your head.
No, because that cognitive load is simply too high. The processing power required to do real-time translation makes a natural rhythm impossible.
So the million-dollar question is, how do we bypass that slow, analytical part of the brain?
Well, the data shows that the most effective way to build those automatic, lightning-fast responses is through a technique called shadowing.
Shadowing. Okay, I've heard this thrown around in language circles, but let's break down the mechanics. How does it actually reroute the brain?
It shifts the work from your prefrontal cortex to your motor cortex. It essentially builds muscle memory.
Oh, so it's a physical thing.
Yeah, it's a 3-step process. First, you listen carefully to a native or highly proficient English phrase.
Okay, step 1 is listening.
Right. Second, you repeat it slowly, paying close attention to how the words physically feel in your mouth, like where your tongue is, how your jaw moves.
Interesting.
And third, you repeat it a little faster, matching the natural intonation. You are training the brain, the ears, and the mouth to work together simultaneously.
Kind of like how a pianist's fingers know where the keys are without looking at the sheet music.
That's a perfect analogy.
Because, before we go any further, we need to redefine a very specific word for our C1 level learners out there, and that word is fluency.
Yes, please.
We tend to conflate fluency with speed, which is a massive mistake.
A huge mistake. Fluency does not mean speaking incredibly fast. It means speaking smoothly, without those painful computational pauses and with a natural rhythm.
Right.
Here's an example sentence to lock that in. Her fluency improved when she stopped worrying about speed and focused on rhythm.
Let's actually simulate a scenario to show this shadowing rhythm in action. Let's say we are meeting at a cafe, I'm your friend, and I ask you a completely standard question. How has your week been?
Okay, so without shadowing, I might pause, look up at the ceiling, and start running that mental translation algorithm.
The math equation.
Right. But if I've been shadowing common social scripts, my motor cortex has an automatic framework ready to go.
So what does that look like?
I start by listening to a target phrase, like, my week has been busy but good. Then I shadow it slowly. My week has been busy but good.
And then you bring it up to conversational speed, focusing on the linkage between the words.
Exactly. My week has been busy but good. By practicing that specific phonetic sequence, my mouth knows what to do before my analytical brain even has time to panic about verb tenses.
Okay, so shadowing gives us a baseline. It gives us a reflex. But reflexes alone don't make for deep conversation.
Yeah, they don't.
Once we stop translating and start shadowing these basic responses, the next natural step is making those automatic sentences richer. Moving from a basic thought to an advanced expression. We call this the art of expansion.
Right, because saying, my week was good is perfectly fine for an A2 or B1 learner.
Yeah, it gets the job done.
But at a C1 level, you need to add texture. You need to expand your thoughts in real time.
Okay, let's unpack this because I have to push back here. If a learner is already nervous about speaking smoothly, isn't adding more details and connecting words just giving them more chances to make a grammatical mistake?
It does seem that way.
It feels like we are asking them to walk on a tightrope, and right in the middle, we are suddenly handing them juggling balls.
It sounds like a recipe for disaster, I know. But it reveals a fascinating, counterintuitive truth about language processing.
Which is,
Adding connecting words, words like because, therefore, however so, actually creates a better natural rhythm and, crucially, buys you time.
wait, really? So making a sentence longer actually gives my brain a break. It's like using productive filler words.
Exactly. They act as a cognitive bridge. When you confidently deploy a word like because, it gives your brain a microsecond of breathing room to plan the next clause of your sentence.
Oh, wow.
And, more importantly, it gives your conversational partner more substance to react to.
That makes a lot of sense.
Let's look at a common phrasal verb people use when talking about daily routines to show how a C1 speaker manipulates basic vocabulary. The phrasal verb is wake up.
Right, we all know what wake up means. But how does an advanced learner use it differently than a beginner?
Well, a beginner gives a flat fact. I wake up at 7:0. It is grammatically correct, but it's a conversational dead end.
Yeah, there's nowhere to go from there.
Exactly. A C1 learner uses expansion to introduce contrast and nuance. For example, I usually wake up at 7:0, but on weekends I wake up much later.
The but changes everything. It adds rhythm and invites the other person to ask about your weekends. Let's try another one. Let's take the most basic sentence possible. I went to the park.
Okay.
If you tell me that, all I can really say is, oh, nice. End of conversation.
But if we expand it using our cognitive bridge, I went to the park because the weather was beautiful and I wanted to relax outdoors.
Suddenly, you have a rich sentence. You've handed the listener 3 distinct threads they can pull on. The park, the unseasonably good weather, or the need to de-stress.
It's a game changer. You can also use comparisons to force this kind of expansion. If someone asks you a preference question, a fluent speaker never just gives a one-word answer.
So how would that work?
Comparisons are a fantastic cognitive workout for C1 learners. Let's compare tea and coffee. Instead of a flat, I prefer coffee, you expand and contrast.
Okay.
You'd say, I prefer coffee because it gives me a sharp boost of energy, but I prefer tea in the evening because it helps me wind down.
Or comparing watching a movie at home versus the cinema. Like, I prefer watching movies at home because it's more comfortable and I can pause the film, but I do enjoy the cinema for the immersive sound system.
Exactly. You are weaving thoughts together smoothly, buying yourself time with those connecting words.
And you can literally practice shadowing these long, expanded structures. It trains your breath control. You learn where to pause naturally.
So shadowing and expansion work beautifully when we're sitting across from someone at a cafe.
Yeah, we have eye contact, we can read body language, we can see if they're nodding along.
But what happens when we strip all of those safety nets away?
You mean when we are entirely reliant on auditory input?
Exactly.
Before we dive into the ultimate test of auditory reflexes, I want to take a quick second here. If you are enjoying this lesson, please like, share, and subscribe to keep practicing with us.
It really helps us bring you more of these deep dives.
All right, let's get back into it. Think about making a phone call in a second language. Making a phone call in a second language is like flying an airplane in the dark.
That is a terrifying image.
Right. You have to trust your instruments, which are your ears and your voice, because you cannot see the other person's face. You can't see them smiling. You can't see if they look confused. You have zero visual feedback.
The phone call is universally cited as the most terrifying situation for language learners. These blind conversations require absolute trust in your listening skills and your shadowed reflexes.
And the best place to practice this is with daily errands.
Definitely. Let's contextualize that vocabulary word, errands.
Oh, good idea. Errands are short trips taken to complete a necessary task, often involving a transaction. For example, I have to run some errands at the grocery store and the post office.
When you are running errands or dealing with service workers on the phone, the language is highly structured.
Predictable. Yeah.
Whether you are calling a doctor's office, requesting a late checkout at a hotel, or navigating airport security, there is a very predictable script.
So you don't have to wing it.
Exactly. The anxiety drops significantly when you realize you don't need to invent entirely new English, you just need to confidently deploy the script.
Let's put this to the test. Let's play out a phone scenario with a slight complication, because errands rarely go perfectly.
Sure.
Let's say you are calling to book a restaurant reservation. I'm the host. Ring, ring.
Good evening, La Trattoria. How can I help you?
Hi, I'd like to make a reservation for 2 people for tomorrow evening at 7:00.
I'm so sorry. We are fully booked at 7:00. I have a table at 6:00 or 8:70. Now, as the learner, you are thrown off the script. This is where you use your expansion skills to buy time. Exactly. Instead of panicking, I use a bridge phrase. Oh, I see. Well, 6.0 is a bit too early for us, so let's go with the 8:30 slot, please.
Brilliant. You used well to buy a second, and so to connect the logic.
Yep.
Now, what about navigating a busy friend? You call someone, they answer, but it's chaotic on their end. This brings up a really crucial phrasal verb, call back.
That's a good one.
It means to return a phone call. For example, I'm busy right now. Can I call you back later?
Handling this smoothly is a great test of blind conversational skills.
How so?
Well, if your friend answers and says, hey, I'm actually walking into a meeting, can I call you back later? A fluent response isn't just a panic, okay, guy.
No, it shouldn't be.
It's a structured social transaction. Yes, of course, no problem at all. Talk to you later.
It's polite, it's complete, and it acknowledges their situation perfectly, even without being able to see them rushing down a hallway.
It's all about having those instruments, your ears and your voice, calibrated. Your tone is your altimeter, and your transition words are your radar.
I love that. And this applies to face-to-face transactional scripts, too. Like, you know what to expect at airport security. Please remove your laptop from your bag and place it in a separate bin.
The shadowed answer is ready. Sure, no problem. You don't need to overthink it.
However, surviving an errand just gets you through the logistics of the day. A transaction is not a connection.
No, it's not. Building actual relationships requires something much more complex.
It requires mastering what we call the social dance. The nuances of small talk, expressing contrasting opinions, and maintaining politeness when things get tricky.
It is believed that the true mark of C1 mastery is not having a dictionary-sized vocabulary.
What is it then?
It's the ability to navigate social friction. Can you politely disagree with someone's opinion? Can you ask a native speaker to slow down without feeling a wave of embarrassment?
That's tough for a lot of people.
It is. Small talk and social maneuvering are the foundations of deeper connections.
Let's look at a phrase that is the cornerstone of social small talk, the phrasal verb eat out. It simply means to eat at a restaurant instead of cooking at home. For example, on weekends, I usually meet my friends, and sometimes we eat out together.
That phrase opens so many doors for connection. It invites opinions on restaurants, cuisines, and neighborhoods.
Right.
But what happens when you are eating out? You are deep in conversation, and someone shares an opinion you strongly disagree with.
Oh, that happens all the time.
How do you handle that friction smoothly? A beginner might accidentally sound aggressive and just say, no, you are wrong.
Which instantly kills the mood.
Right. But a fluent speaker uses a conversational bridge to soften the blow. Let's demonstrate. Imagine we are at dinner, and I say, honestly, I think memorizing grammar rules is the most important part of learning English.
I vehemently disagree with that. But instead of saying, no, I use a respectful C1 level structure, I would say, I see your point, but I actually think real-world speaking practice is far more important.
I see your point, but that is the social dance in action.
It works so well.
It validates my contribution to the conversation, maintains social harmony, and confidently states your contrasting opinion. You are asserting yourself without being confrontational.
Now let's talk about the ultimate friction. What if the dance gets confusing? What if I am in a conversation and the other person speaks way too fast, or they use a slang word I have never heard?
That's a scary moment.
I think the biggest roadblock to true fluency is the intense shame learners feel when they simply don't understand.
It's a huge barrier.
Yeah.
People will literally nod and smile, pretending to understand, just to avoid looking foolish.
We've all been there.
But the vital skill here is active clarification. You don't freeze, and you don't fake it. You simply use a practiced, shadowed emergency phrase.
Like what?
If they speak too fast, you say, could you repeat that more slowly, please? Or if you miss a word, Sorry, I didn't quite catch that. Could you say that again, please?
Having that phrase read, like having it as an automatic reflex in your motor cortex, removes the fear of the
It
unknown.
really does.
You know that no matter how fast or complex the conversation gets, you have a polite emergency brake you can pull at any time.
And ironically, pulling that brake shows immense confidence. It signals to the other person that you are actively engaged in what they are saying and you value their thoughts enough to want to fully understand them. It builds connection rather than breaking it.
We've covered so much ground today. We started by looking at how shadowing rewires the brain to bypass the translation trap.
Yeah, that was huge.
We explored how expanding our sentences with connecting words actually buys us cognitive time.
The cognitive bridge.
We navigated the blind terrain of phone calls and predictable errands, and we just broke down the social dance of polite disagreement and clarification.
It is a really comprehensive framework. If you shadow these scripts and practice expanding your thoughts, your speaking and listening will inevitably begin to flow.
And I promise a special bonus tip at the beginning of this deep dive. Something to fundamentally change how you view your progress. So, what is the ultimate mindset shift our listeners need to adopt today?
The shift is this. English is not learned in one day, and it is not a test you either pass or fail.
Okay.
It grows little by little, just like a tree. The more you water it with consistent practice, the taller and stronger it becomes.
I like that analogy.
But here is the most important part. Mistakes are just part of the soil.
Wow.
They are completely necessary for growth. It is believed that if you are not making grammatical mistakes, you are not reaching high enough.
You are playing it too safe.
Exactly.
Let's
You have to embrace the messy, imperfect process of growing.
Mistakes are just part of the soil. That takes so much pressure off.
Ah,
Listen, if you are ready to grow your English tree, if you are ready to stop translating and start connecting, I want you to write the words "I stay committed" in the comment box right now.
type it out.
Commit to the shadowing, commit to the expansion, and commit to making those necessary mistakes.
And to give you a C1 level challenge for those comments, before we go, here is an idiom for you to dissect.
Yeah.
What does it mean to break the ice in a conversation?
Oh, that's a classic.
Write your explanations in the comments section. We want to see you use those expansion skills to explain it.
Yes, show us what you've got in the comments. And of course, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so you never miss a chance to practice with us. We are here to help you build that everyday English flow.
To wrap things up, I want to leave you with one final, lingering thought to mull over as you go about your day.
What is it?
If fluency is truly about human connection rather than grammatical perfection, how does changing your goal from not making mistakes to making a genuine connection completely change the way you will practice tomorrow?
That is the perfect question to leave hanging in the air. Because when you stop trying to be a perfect calculator and just focus on keeping your balance on the bicycle with the person next to you, that is when you are truly speaking the language.
Couldn't have said it better.
Keep practicing, keep connecting, and we will catch you on the next deep dive.